the Rockbound Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Today on Good Morning Maine, a look back at the inauguration of President Donald Trump and some of the actions he took on his first day.
Plus, warming shelters are being set up to help residents cope with the dangerously cold weather.
And a special march was held in Waterville to celebrate the life of Martin Luther King Jr. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Emma Smith.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us. We'll have all the day's news coming up in just a few moments. But first, a check of that forecast. Boy, the cold weather will just take your breath away when you head out today, so you'll want to bundle up and be careful of it. It was like, I think, 13 below zero when I left the house this morning.
It's dangerously cold.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all you can say.
And we're going to have to deal with it for at least a couple of days.
I know. Here's Devin Biggs with that forecast.
Hey, Craig and Emma, thank you very much. A cold start this morning. We have cold weather advisories that will last until 10 a.m. this morning. Temperatures starting off rather chilly this morning and wind chill values just a little bit lower. We have some advisories along the coast, small crowd advisories, and freezing spray advisories that are posted as well along the coast. Meanwhile, let's check things out. So looking rather quiet this morning. We'll see some clouds passing through. A stray flurry or two cannot be ruled out later on today. But meanwhile, look at this, something I never thought I'd see. We have snow across the southern parts of the U.S. and some spots like New Orleans could possibly see at least 3 to 6 inches of snow. Areas that don't normally see a lot of snow could see a decent amount today from this winter storm that is developing, and places that don't normally see it. But the rest of the Northeast, just some lake effect snow developing, and really that's about it. So futurecast for us today, a partly cloudy sky, maybe a flurry or two if you're lucky, with a mostly clear sky to partly cloudy sky in a few areas coming up later on tonight. Some gusty winds today reaching up to 20 to 25 miles per hour at times. So the winds calm down tonight with a quick gust tomorrow that can reach up to about 15 miles per hour at times. For today, 17 degrees, partly cloudy, a few stray flurries possible, and that west wind at around 20 miles per hour. Your hourly forecast for the rest of the morning and afternoon period showing a partly cloudy sky with temperatures overall in the upper teens. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Emma.
All right, thank you, Devin. Well, President Trump wasted no time moving forward with his agenda, signing a wave of executive actions and orders on his first day back in office. It includes pardoning defendants charged in the January 6th attack at the Capitol. ABC's Perry Russum has more.
Amid the pomp and circumstance of President Trump's first day back in office, an all-out blitz enacting his agenda.
This is a hell of a day we're having, right?
Trump signing an avalanche of executive actions. It includes declaring a national emergency at the southern border, ending birthright citizenship, requiring the government to recognize only 2 genders, and pardoning defendants charged in the January 6th attack at the Capitol.
So this is January 6th. These are the hostages. Approximately 1,500 for a pardon.
Trump also saying he will order a 25% tariff on goods coming from Mexico and Canada starting February 1st. Experts warning the added tax could get handed down to Americans, raising prices at the store.
We're thinking in terms of 25% on Mexico and Canada because they're allowing vast numbers of people. Canada's a very bad abuser also. Vast numbers of people to come in and fentanyl to come in.
Trump signing an executive order to delay the ban on TikTok for 75 days in hopes of giving the app's Chinese owner enough time to sell off its U.S. assets.
Wow. Thank you.
During the Oval Office signings, a moment of surprise. Trump finding a letter left in the Resolute desk by former President Biden.
Maybe we should all read it together.
Let's read it.
Well, maybe I'll read it first and then make that determination.
That sounds great.
And we are already seeing lawsuits challenging Trump's move to end birthright citizenship in a lawsuit filed overnight. It calls the order flagrantly illegal and an attempt to redefine a right enshrined in the very fabric of our country. Perry Russum, ABC News, Capitol Hill.
Tech billionaire Elon Musk making headlines for his speech at the inaugural parade rally, or rather an eyebrow-raising gesture instead of the speech itself. While the crowd was cheering at his remarks, Musk took his right hand, pats it over his heart, and then sends that arm out with his palm facing down. He turns around to the crowd behind him and does the same gesture, some saying it resembled a Nazi victory salute. Musk was one of Trump's biggest campaign backers and is now his pick to lead a new Department of Government Efficiency aimed at cutting excessive government spending.
Well,
In light of Donald Trump's inauguration, we spoke with Professor and UMaine Political Science Department Chair Mark Brewer about his expectations for Trump's initial actions in office. Brewer says he believes President Trump will fulfill many of the promises he made during and after his campaign with the use of executive orders. According to Brewer, such actions aren't far from the norm for past presidents, but the sheer number and potentially controversial nature of Trump's executive orders is what sets them apart.
You know, he's already previewed the executive orders that he's going to issue. Some of them are going to be highly controversial. Many of them will probably be challenged in court. So, you know, all presidents do this when they get inaugurated. They issue an avalanche of executive orders. So he'll do that. Some of his will be a little bit more controversial probably than others.
Says of those executive orders, the ones that will have the most impact on Mainers are those involving tariffs, specifically tariffs imposed on Canadian imports. However, Brewer reminds us that nothing is for certain until the executive orders are fully implemented.
Recovery efforts are still underway for the 2 fishermen who went missing off the coast of Cutler over the weekend. There's also word this morning that searchers may have an idea of where their boat is located. The U.S. Coast Guard announced on Sunday they would be suspending their search for Chester Barrett and his son Aaron Barrett after more than 42 hours of coordinated search efforts. However, Maine authorities and local fishermen have continued to look for the men. Authorities say the 2 were reported missing Saturday evening. They departed in their fishing vessel from Cobscook Bay State Park around 5 a.m. on Saturday, but planned to seek refuge in Cutler after facing unfavorable sea conditions. Emergency crews have searched over 900 square miles of ocean and coastline since they were reported missing. A spokesperson for the Maine Marine Patrol says they're still continuing to send crews along the water and shoreline between Lubec and South Addison in hopes of recovering the missing fishermen. They also confirmed that fishermen who have been assisting in the search have detected what could be the boat near the mouth of the tidal Moose River, roughly 160 feet below the surface. Searchers have not confirmed if the detected object, is the missing vessel, but should a salvage effort be made, Marine Patrol will assist local fishermen.
Well, meanwhile, Fairfield police are asking for the public's help as they search for a suspect in a hit-and-run crash that injured a pedestrian on Saturday. Fairfield police say shortly after 6 o'clock Saturday evening, officers were dispatched to the Oakland Road near the 6 Rod Road for a report of a vehicle versus pedestrian crash. Police say a 38-year-old female was struck by a vehicle while she was walking with traffic towards Oakland. A witness described the vehicle that struck the woman as being a mid-sized black sedan, which fled the scene. Police say the incident took place on a dark section of road and the female was wearing all dark clothing. They say the female victim suffered non-life-threatening injuries. Fairfield police ask anyone that has information about the crash to give them a call at the number right there on your screen. It is 453-9321.
The Maine State Police are asking for help identifying a man in regards to a burglary at a Stetson home earlier this month. The man in question can be seen on your screen. The incident happened on January 8th around 2 p.m. on the Huey Road in Stetson. If you have any information about this man or the incident, you're asked to call Trooper Haverly Jondro at the NFT Bangor Barracks by calling 207-973-3700.
The Bangor Police Department is investigating 2 more convenience store robberies, and they say they believe the suspect that they're searching for is also responsible for a robbery that occurred last week. Police are asking for any information about the man you see there on your screen. The suspect is described as being a white male between 5'8" and 6'2", weighing between 250 and 300 pounds. He was seen wearing a black mask, gray North Face sweatshirt, with a possible black rain jacket underneath, as well as black pants, brown work boots, and gray gloves, which possibly have texture on the palms. In this case, he was wearing a blue jacket. According to Bangor police officers, they responded to the Big Apple convenience store at 146 State Street after the employee reported a robbery. The employee told officers they believed the person who robbed them was the same who they had seen in news reports about a robbery at the Circle K on Monday, January 13th. The suspect allegedly brandished a knife and demanded money, and after taking the money, left the scene on foot. About 30 minutes later, police responded to a panic alarm from the Circle K at Broadway and Griffin, the same one that was robbed last week. An employee there told police that the store had been robbed again by the same man as before. The Circle K employee's description of the alleged robber matched the Big Apple employee's description. And if you have any information, you can contact the Bangor Police Department at 947-7384. You can also leave anonymous tips there.
Bangor city officials are asking for the public's help in their search for a new city manager. The City Council plans to hold a meeting on Thursday for residents, businesses, and organizations to share what they believe are the major issues and challenges facing Bangor. Participants are also being asked to express what qualities, education, background, and experience the new manager should possess. This comes after City Manager Debbie Laurie announced last month that she will step down from her position this spring after 2 years as manager. The meeting will be on Thursday at 5:15 in the council chambers. All right, the time now is 6:11. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, a special march is held to remember the life of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and to raise awareness about poverty in our current society. We'll have the story coming up.
But first, another check of that weather forecast. A real cold day today, partly cloudy with a few flurries, with highs only reaching around 17. Tonight, mostly clear with lows dropping down to -8. Tomorrow, another partly cloudy day with highs near 15. We'll be right back.
Get this low mileage lease on this 2025 Cadillac XT5 for around $499 per month. Visit Court Cadillac in Bangor.
Your favorite restaurants were half off. It's half off dining from Fox 22 and ABC 7. Go to foxbangor.com, click on half off dining, and start saving now.
Opa, a Greek Mediterranean dining experience like no other, serving the finest of Greek dishes in central Maine. Let Executive Chef Gage Derbyshire prepare your food while you enjoy a drink. Opa! It's all Greek to me.
Great restaurants from all over Eastern Maine at half off dining from Fox 22 and ABC 7.
This is my playpen.
I get that, Your Honor.
Perfect!
Judge Judy never misses a beat.
Weeknights at 5 on ABC 7.
Ready to have some fun? Big money there.
I love this wheel!
Somebody's having a night tonight. We're just getting started.
Weekdays at 7 on ABC 7.
Along with the presidential inauguration, the nation also celebrated the life and lasting legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The city of Waterville held a march not just to mark this important day, but to also raise awareness and support for those experiencing poverty and homelessness. Our Augusta reporter Corey Bichard spoke with the event organizer, who has a particular connection with Dr. King.
To remind us of the fights that have been fought before, the importance of carrying on, we thought we should honor him in this way.
Elizabeth Leonard is an activist with the Poor People's Campaign. She also organized a march of a few dozen activists to honor Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., which began at 11:30 at the Veterans Park in Waterville. According to Leonard, while many people know Dr. King for his fight for racial equality, he was also focused on the issue of poverty.
Martin Luther King in 1967 and 8, before he was murdered, founded the Poor People's Campaign, which was meant to be more than just addressing racial issues, but bringing together the issues of racism and poverty and militarism and all of these interlocking systems of injustice.
And the Poor People's Campaign isn't the only connection Leonard has to Dr. King. Her father was also a civil rights activist and joined King on one of his marches from Selma to Montgomery, Alabama.
I do want to say I'm wearing a vest, a safety vest that my father wore in Selma in 1965 when he marched with Martin Luther King there. And it says on the back something about Unitarian Universalists for 50 miles for freedom.
The group stopped at Waterville City Hall to hear an excerpt from Dr. King's final speech before ending their march with a donation at the Waterville Area Soup Kitchen.
We just want people to think about Martin Luther King, the messages he gave us, the need to keep struggling for justice, and to keep an eye on those in our government and our society who are trying to hoard all the wealth to themselves and deprive everybody else of the wealth and the rights and the opportunities that they should have if we really are going to be a democracy.
In Waterville, I'm Corey Bouchard for ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, meanwhile, Governor Mills' office released a statement marking the Day of Remembrance, saying, quote, during a 1957 speech in Birmingham, Alabama, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? As we observe Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, the only federal holiday designated as a day of national service, let us each reflect on how we can better serve our families, our neighbors, and our communities. May we all renew our commitment to building a state and nation grounded in shared responsibility and to expanding justice, equality, and fairness for all people.
We are seeing the beginning of the Arctic blast we've been warned about, and the Bangor Fire Department says they're ready for cold weather calls. Assistant Fire Chief Chandler Corvo says the department is lucky this winter hasn't been too eventful with calls. But with the first extreme temperatures starting to set in, responders are keeping an eye out for issues like freezing pipes, electric heating hazards, and improper use of generators. Corvo says responders are prepared with cold weather gear no matter what emergency arises.
Yeah, so we just make sure that crews have all the appropriate gear that they're going to need tonight, that if we respond to any type of calls in the middle of the night when it's this cold, that we circulate water, that sort of thing.
Corvo says anyone with fire safety questions should contact the Bangor Fire Department's non-emergency line. For information on winter safety, visit this story on our website.
People that are just moving here, this might be their first blast of this cold weather. They have to learn how to deal with it. You know, don't use like an open flame to thaw your frozen pipes, that kind of thing. You maybe use a hair dryer instead. Go online and research things about what you do. Otherwise, you might burn your house down.
Right.
It's serious weather, and we've got to take it serious.
Right. My dad would always keep a slow drip on the faucet if we were worried about the if the pipe's freezing.
Yeah.
But it didn't have to be warm, wet water. It just had to be a drip.
Just moving water. We used to do that, and I had an old house, and the water would freeze up. So we'd go around to the bathrooms and just leave the tap on ever so slightly just a little bit during the night, because otherwise you'd be out of luck, and it could cost you thousands to replace some of the broken equipment, that kind of thing. So anyway, stay warm out there, folks. Check on your neighbors, your senior neighbors, and watch out for those pets, because if it's cold for you, it's cold for them too.
I know. Even if they want to go outside. They don't actually want to go outside. All right, the time now is 6:17. After the break, warming centers have been established in Bangor and other communities as the extremely cold weather grips the state.
Plus, protesters took to the streets of Washington Monday to have their voices heard on Inauguration Day. We'll hear why as Good Morning Maine continues.
Hey, good morning, America. Good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
You don't just see it, you feel it.
I'm in.
I'm in.
I'm in.
I'm in too.
I am in.
I'm in.
I'm in too.
I'll be here.
You know what today is? It's Tuesday. But no matter what day of the week, Lowry & Associates is your go-to law firm. If you've been hurt, call us right now.
If you're hurt in an accident, what do you do? Call 222-2222.
Your favorite restaurants for half off. It's half off dining from Fox 22 and ABC 7. Go to foxbangor.com, click on half off dining, and start saving now.
Goose River Farm and Meat Store is conveniently located on Route 3 across from Hammond Lumber in Belfast. They have a wide selection of meat and poultry, including beef, pork, lamb, chicken, duck, rabbit, and turkey. Open Tuesday through Saturday this summer.
Great restaurants from all over Eastern Maine at half off dining from Fox 22 and ABC 7.
If you haven't walked through the showroom at Davis Brothers Furniture in a while, we invite you to come take a look. At Davis Brothers, we've always strived to stand out from the rest. For decades now, the goal has been the same. Give people a reason to travel from all over the state and beyond to Davis Brothers Furniture in Guilford. Everything in our showroom is designed with you in mind, from a rustic lodge and barn look to traditional and even contemporary furniture. It's more than just a unique look, it's a lifestyle. Davis Brothers Furniture, deliberately different.
Welcome back, everyone. With Bangor bracing for an Arctic blast this week, additional warming shelters are opening their doors and extending their hours to ensure no one is left out in the cold.
Our Alex Schley has more.
The Bangor Area Homeless Shelter and similar community organizations are bracing for this week's extreme cold conditions.
The warming center's been running around 20 or 25. We can hold 38 in the warming center. When it gets cold like this, sometimes we go over that 38.
Executive Director of the Bangor Area Homeless Shelter, Boyd Cronholm, says the organization opened the warming center 7 years ago.
Back then, we estimated there were probably 2 to 3 dozen people who are sleeping outside during the winter. And so we were looking at what are we going to do with those people.
Before the warming center, the unhoused were often left to fend for themselves.
They'd be huddled in a tent, or they'd be huddled in a doorway, or there was a period of time where they would go to the police station and hang out in there, or they'd be in the emergency rooms with some aches and pains that may or may not exist.
Bangor native Ellery Drew Church III says in the past he'd build a camp in the woods.
I did it last year and the year before that.
This year, Drew Church and dozens of others have chosen to utilize the warming center. To accommodate the rising demand, Cromwell says new facilities have opened in recent years, including the Wells Warming Center, which provides a comfortable space for the unhoused during the day.
The people here actually care. They're not here for a paycheck. I do laundry here. They offer showers. They're good people.
For a full list of warming shelters open in Bangor this week, visit our website, foxbangor.com. In Bangor, I'm Alex Schley for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
There are a number of places around Bangor where you can go get warm, including the Bangor Public Library. Down in Augusta, they've opened up the Civic Center the next few days for people to come in, and they're doing similar things in other communities around the state. Again, go online and do a little research and you'll find one near you.
Yep. All right, now for what's making waves this morning. The historic storm taking shape across the Deep South. New Orleans is bracing for a winter storm not seen since 1963. But there's also concern in California and the northern U.S.
Here's ABC's Rhiannon Alley with more.
This morning, a winter storm stretching from the Rockies to the Northeast is creating treacherous conditions for tens of millions of Americans. Slippery roads causing this pileup near Grand Rapids, Michigan. More than a dozen vehicles involved. Wind chills in the Midwest this morning dropping to 45 below zero. But the big concern? Heavy snow and ice spreading across the Deep South. Emergencies declared from Louisiana to Georgia. New Orleans preparing for something it hardly ever sees. 1 to 3 inches of snow.
I'm told that this hasn't happened in our city, documented definitely since 1963, but it also has the potential to exceed anywhere from the 1900s, I believe.
Airports in Houston closed. Thousands of flights canceled or delayed due to the storm.
This is a serious Arctic blast. It's dangerous. It's life-threatening.
We don't do cold and we don't do ice well.
Meanwhile, in the west, severe fire danger today. Winds could hit 100 miles per hour in parts of Southern California.
Flying embers from a wildfire can destroy homes for over a mile away. Taking the necessary measures to prepare your home can help increase the chance of survival.
Rhiannon Alley, ABC News, New York.
It's truly all across the nation right now.
Yeah.
It's all chaos. All right, the time now is 6:23.
Let's get a full look at our weather forecast.
Hey, Craig and Emma, thank you very much. We have cold weather advisories up for the northern parts of the state, and now will last until about 10 a.m. this morning. Cold temperatures and wind chills taking place in that part of the state. We also have small crowd advisories up until 10 o'clock tonight, and freezing spray advisories posted along the coast as well. Meanwhile, wave heights at around 3 to 5 feet, according to the buoys right nearby, a little bit higher further off towards the north and east, and even 10 to 13 foot wave heights being noted farther out towards sea at this moment in time. Starting off rather clear this morning under a mostly clear sky, which has allowed temperatures to really fall. We'll have some clouds developing later on today and maybe a stray flurry or two. But meanwhile, in the southern parts of the U.S., something I never thought I'd see, some snow across the southern parts of the United States, where areas like New Orleans could see possibly 3 to 6 inches of snow before the system moves out of the area. Areas along the south that don't normally see snow, seeing a good amount. out. But the rest of the country right now, this is the only game going on. The rest of the Northeast just seeing some lake effect snow at this moment in time. So futurecast for us, some clouds across the northern parts of the state. And now we'll move in for us later on today, partly cloudy, a stray flurry or two possible. Later on tonight, mostly clear to partly cloudy. Then once we head towards tomorrow, a good amount of sunshine to start. Some more clouds developing during the afternoon period. Those will be out of here as we head towards Wednesday evening. We will have gusty winds to watch out for, and that could reach up to about 25 miles per hour at times, calming down later on tonight. And then we might get a quick gust tomorrow that could reach up to about 15 miles per hour at times in a few areas. Of course, wind chill values will still be rather low. Notice the northern parts of the state, they've been rather low. Later on tonight, another cold one on the way, especially in the northern parts of the state and for the rest of us as well. But once we head towards tomorrow night, or should I say as we head towards Wednesday night, things will improve just a little bit, but still cold in the northern parts of the state and for the rest of us as well. Meanwhile, our average high temperature is 27 degrees. We'll do upper teens today, middle teens as we head towards your Wednesday. We make it back into the 20s Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Lower 30s for your Sunday, and then we're back in the mid-20s as we head towards your Monday. So for today, 17 degrees, partly cloudy, a few stray flurries can't be ruled out, and that west wind at around 20 miles per hour. Tonight, 8 below, mostly clear and cold out there with the wind overall looking nice and calm. For tomorrow, 15 degrees, partly cloudy, wind chills near 10 below at times, and the northwest wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Let's check out your extended forecast. A slight chance for snow on Thursday, otherwise mostly cloudy with highs in the mid-20s. Mid-20s again for your Friday under a partly cloudy sky. Partly cloudy Saturday with highs in the mid-20s.
Why should your new floor come from Carpet One? Because we're passionate about the spaces our neighbors call home. We're part of your community, and we're also part of the world's largest cooperative of independently owned and operated flooring stores. So you can be sure you'll get great selection and outstanding value with every installation. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, tile, or luxury vinyl, our experts take the guesswork out of choosing the right floor. We're your local Carpet One Floor and Home, the one store for your perfect floor.
Did he lose his shirt?
I've never seen anybody lose their shirt.
Do you think they made him pay triple?
I guess our tactics didn't work today. Who's the law firm?
The law offices of Joe Bornstein.
If you've been injured in an accident, call Joe. The law offices of Joe Bornstein. Maine lawyers working for Maine people.
Tell the insurance company you mean business.
A new year and a new adventure with the perfect Chevy to take you anywhere. With pure power unleashed and future-forward technology. Because every mile matters and every path leads to new possibilities. Qualified Chevy lessees can get this 2025 Silverado for around $409 a month. Or current Chevy owners can get $5,000 total cash allowance.
Friday nights are for basketball fans. Friday Night Fast Break is your source for everything that is Maine high school basketball. Highlights and local analysis. It's the only show that hits every corner of Maine's hardwood hoop landscape, high school, college, and professional. Join us Friday night during basketball season for Friday Night Fast Break on ABC 7 News at 11. Brought to you by Coastal Auto Parts, your local Napa Auto Parts dealer with 30 locations, owned and operated by a Maine family that cares.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
A Border Patrol agent is shot and killed during a traffic stop in Vermont. It happened Monday on Interstate 91 in Coventry near the Canadian border. Homeland Security officials tell Fox News 2 suspects were in the car that was stopped and that one of the suspects was dead. DHS did not confirm the legal status of the shooter. Vermont Governor Phil Scott's office says he is aware of the incident and Vermont State Police are assisting federal authorities.
Desperately needed aid continued to pour into Gaza on Tuesday morning following Sunday's ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. Trucks streamed across the border from Egypt into the southern city of Rafah. Under the ceasefire agreement, hundreds of trucks can enter Gaza a day. Some 90% of Gaza's population has been displaced, and reports from the last few months show that millions are facing famine. Its cities are in ruin, and its people are suffering from malnutrition after 15 months of Israeli bombardment. Following the ceasefire, some families set off for home on foot, their belongings loaded on carts. In Rafah, residents returned to find massive destruction that they described as a dystopia. Medical sources told Al Jazeera on Monday that since the ceasefire, only a day before, the bodies of 97 Palestinians have been recovered from underneath the rubble, with residents searching for thousands more.
Well, protesters from various human rights groups march in Washington on Inauguration Day. Demonstrators holding their Palestinian flags, rainbow flags, and signs objecting to Donald Trump's policies high in the air on Monday. Further down the road, President Donald Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance were being sworn in. Protesters say they were demonstrating for different causes, including urging the government to sign an arms embargo against Israel and representing their loved ones whose rights are at risk from Trump's proposed policies.
We are asking for, whoever the president is, that American tax dollars are not spent providing weapons for Israel.
I definitely have people and communities that I deeply care for, that will be, their rights are in jeopardy, their rights to be who they're meant to be, the rights to love as they want. And, you know, these are serious identity issues, and it gets to a point where if these people aren't allowed the care that they need, it's a question of do they want to wake up tomorrow. So it's life and death.
Of course, Donald Trump was sworn in yesterday. Frigid temperatures forced the swearing-in ceremony indoors to the Capitol Rotunda for the first time that has happened in 40 years.
Coming up on the second half of the newscast, we'll stop by a local gym in Bangor to see how people are keeping up with their New Year's resolutions.
We'll hear advice to keep that momentum going as Good Morning Maine continues.
Hammond Lumber Company has been a trusted partner of professional contractors, do-it-yourselfers, and homeowners for generations. It's the level of trust that Hammond Lumber has earned by providing an extensive selection of products and materials from industry-leading suppliers with guidance and support through every stage of any project, including delivery of materials throughout Maine and New Hampshire. Hammond Lumber Company is, has been, and will always be your building project partner.
You know what today is? It's Tuesday. But no matter what day of the week, Lowry & Associates is your go-to law firm. If you've been hurt, call us right now.
If you're hurt in an accident, what do you do? Call 222-2222.
When bad allergies attack, trust Claritin to keep you in the game. Nothing has proven more powerful for continuous non-drowsy allergy relief. Live Claritin Clear.
It's high school basketball season, and ABC7 and Fox 22 are here to keep you up to date with your local scores and highlights during Friday Night Fast Break. Get out and support your hometown teams and look for our sports crew to get your own free Friday Night Fast Break t-shirt courtesy of
Coastal Auto Parts Hamden, Leo & Sons Auto Repair, Maine Collision Center, Patterson Fuel LLC, Quality Automotive, and John R. Crooker Insurance.
Do you have a wet basement, nasty crawl space, settling foundation, sinking concrete, or clogged gutters? I'm Tony Hafford with TC Hafford Basement Systems, all things basement-y. For over 30 years, thousands of homeowners throughout Maine and southeastern New Hampshire have trusted TC Hafford. Basement waterproofing, crawl space repair, stabilizing foundations, concrete leveling, and gutter installation. Call TC Hafford Basement Systems for all things basement-y.
You're watching ABC7 Bangor.
Welcome back, everyone. Today is Tuesday, January 21st, 2025. Today is also National Hugging Day.
As cringy as it is, this national holiday exists to show you that giving or receiving a hug can be good for your health. If you're not a hugger, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to force it on you. I'm just, giving you some information.
Not everybody likes a hug.
No. And I'm not going to be the one who forces somebody who doesn't want a hug to have a hug. I'm also that person sometimes.
Yeah.
Don't touch me.
Yeah.
Hugs do release endorphins, though, especially if they're a consensual hug, which are natural painkillers, as well as oxytocin, which is a hormone that helps us feel more connected to others. It's known as the love hormone. Hugs are also known to activate our parasympathetic nervous system, which helps reduce stress and anxiety. So overall, giving or receiving a hug frequently can help us be happier, feel more at home with others, be more connected to other people, and be more resilient to stress. Just remember, don't go around hugging people willy-nilly, because it can be seen as very unprofessional in certain environments.
Some people just don't like it.
No.
Okay, I'm a hugger. I hug everybody.
I like to hug people
I like
too.
to spread those love hormones around.
Gross. Now I don't like them anymore.
You don't like
Actually,
it
I take it
anymore.
back. I don't like it.
You don't like it?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Go.
Well, if the wrong person hugs me, okay, so there is this joke where there's this guy that everybody knows, this single guy, and he just talks to people and he comes up to women who don't want to talk to him and he goes, "Where's my hug?"
We all know that dude.
We all
I
know
know a
that
few
guy.
women that do the same thing
Oh,
too.
yeah. Oh,
I've been on the
absolutely.
receiving end of it too. But,
That makes me violent.
Yeah. But if it's a
I
nice
want-
hug between friends, maybe some of my guy friends will give each other a hug, you know. And
If
say,
you're
"Hey, dude."
someone who I don't want to touch me
Yeah.
and you come up at me saying, "Where's my hug?" the Hulk comes out.
Yeah.
Don't.
There's some people that have weird reasons
Absolutely
for
not.
hugging people.
Yeah, like don't touch me.
Anyway, okay, I'm glad
But also, it's National Hugging Day, and hug people who you like.
Go give your mom and dad a hug. They'll love it.
Yeah.
All right? Maybe. As long as they're in the mood for that, I guess. I don't know. All right, moving on to history now. It was on this day back in 1793. King Louis XVI got a hug. Well, no, not really.
No.
The last.
He actually got his head cut off.
Okay,
Yeah.
let me start that over. In 1793, King Louis XVI, the last Bourbon King of France. That's what I want to be. I want to be the Bourbon King.
Not the last one, though.
No, not the last one. Well, he was executed by guillotine in Paris during the French Revolution.
Yeah.
Didn't work out so well for
no
him.
hugs for him.
All right. In 1924, Vladimir Lenin, who led the Russian Revolution and later served as the first head of the Soviet state, died at the age of 53. And since his death, his corpse has almost always lied in an open sarcophagus in the Red Square Mausoleum in Moscow.
I almost put a photo of that up on the screen, and I was
Yeah.
like, "That." Actually, we're not doing that.
I think I saw it once.
I know.
Yeah, that
I'm
was
so
kinda-
jealous of that.
Kind of weird. They kind of lead you into the mausoleum as like you're going to Disney or something. A big line, you go in there and there's Lenin laying there dead, and then you walk out. And anyway,
Right,
that's
and
my
it
Lenin
looks
story.
very, just
Yeah, it looks
Googling
like-
it, I was like, this is very bizarre.
Looks like a dummy out of a
Right.
Disney kind of thing or whatever.
Oh.
Anyway.
Okay, fascinating. In 1930, the Boston Bruins became the first team in NHL history to score 100 goals in a season, with a 5-1 win over Chicago at the Boston Garden. In 1997, Newt Gingrich became the first speaker in the history of the U.S. House of Representatives to be given a formal reprimand for ethics violations, after the House voted 395 to 28 in favor of the measure. And in 2017, demonstrations known collectively as the Women's March were held throughout the world to support gender equality, civil rights, and other issues that were expected to face challenges under the newly inaugurated president, Donald Trump. It was widely believed to be the largest single-day demonstration in U.S. history.
All right, for birthdays today, we have actor Jerry Traynor, probably known best for his role as Spencer in iCarly. He is 47 years old today. I watched iCarly with my daughters.
He's so funny. He was funny in
Yeah.
iCarly.
I don't recognize him there, though.
No, he doesn't.
So,
Yeah.
All right. Also, singer-songwriter Emma Bunton, known for her role as Baby Spice in the Spice Girls, is 49. And actress Gina Davis, the great Gina Davis,
I love her.
is 69 years old today. You don't see her too much anymore, but boy, she's done a lot in her
She's
career.
done so much.
Yeah.
Thelma and Louise is one of my favorite movies ever.
Yeah. I just want to give her a big hug.
I know. I love her. I love Gina Davis. Okay, moving on now. It's cold.
Yeah.
It's extremely cold. Bundle up. Wear your gloves. Here's Devin Biggs with the forecast.
Hey, Craig and Emma, thank you very much. A cold start this morning. We have cold weather advisories that will last until 10 a.m. this morning. Temperatures starting off rather chilly this morning, and wind chill values just a little bit lower. We have some advisories along the coast, small crowd advisories, and freezing spray advisories that are posted as well along the coast. Meanwhile, let's check things out. So looking rather quiet this morning. We'll see some clouds passing through. A stray flurry or two cannot be ruled out later on today. But meanwhile, look at this, something I never thought I'd see. We have snow across the southern parts of the U.S. and some spots like New Orleans could possibly see at least 3 to 6 inches of snow. Areas that don't normally see a lot of snow could see a decent amount today from this winter storm that is developing, and places that don't normally see it. But the rest of the Northeast, just some lake effect snow developing, and really that's about it. So futurecast for us today, a partly cloudy sky, maybe a flurry or two if you're lucky, with a mostly clear sky to partly cloudy sky in a few areas coming up later on tonight. Some gusty winds today reaching up to 20 to 25 miles per hour at times. So the winds calm down tonight with a quick gust tomorrow that can reach up to about 15 miles per hour at times. For today, 17 degrees, partly cloudy, a few stray flurries possible, and that west wind at around 20 miles per hour. Your hourly forecast for the rest of the morning and afternoon period showing a partly cloudy sky with temperatures overall in the upper teens. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Emma.
All right, thank you, Devin. Well, earlier this month, we caught up with a local gym ahead of the New Year spike.
Our Grace Blanchard stopped by to see if people are staying true to their resolutions or if many are already falling off course.
It's been a pretty strong start to the year.
Since the start of the new year, the owners of Evolve Fitness in Bangor say they have seen a roughly 15 to 20% increase in membership.
Classes are really full. The trainers are staying pretty busy. We're doing a lot of orientations and in-body scans and things like that. So that's all kind of just a sign to us that everyone's still really in it.
Smith says the increase is common this time of year, but unfortunately, it doesn't seem to last.
Usually that lasts for about 3 months. And then it tends to tail off to be a little slower.
Many trainers attribute the decline in attendance to changes in weather and lack of discipline.
A lot of people start with motivation, but they don't have the discipline of sticking with it.
Any changes in people's plans tends to be hard. That's why getting a trainer helps, because you're locked in, you have somebody that can keep you honest, keep you coming.
For those that have been coming for years, they say the best way to find motivation is by leaning on your gym community.
I'll see people in here who maybe aren't the most confident in what they're doing, and I just want those people to know there are people in the gym that would love for you to come ask them for advice, and then you can learn something yourself, they'll learn something, and that's the best way to make friends, is just to ask for advice on form or diet.
Figure out what your goal is and how you're going to get there, and then make sure that you do something that's going to work for you in your lifestyle, in your daily habits that you can stick to and really commit to, and just make it part of your everyday routine.
In Bangor, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
If you're sticking with it, good for you.
Yeah, and if you've experienced a lapse in your resolutions, too, I just want to say you can always go back to it. Just because you messed it up or whatever for a little while, you can always go back to it. Don't be too hard on yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, right after the break, Jack Webb has our sports updates.
Don't go away.
This intrigued me a little more into the engine side of things. And being able to be hands-on at all times makes it the funnest.
Hanks Husqvarna is your trusted full-line Husqvarna dealer, offering you everything you need for your outdoor projects. From high-performance lawn tractors and zero-turn mowers to chainsaws, trimmers, battery-powered and powerful snowblowers, we have just what you need. Every piece of equipment is fully set up, serviced, and ready for use by our certified Husqvarna technician. And all sales are backed by our in-house Husqvarna warranty. For parts, service, or new equipment sales, make your way to Hanks Husqvarna in Carmel or Newport.
Commercial vehicles can be dangerous, and they usually carry big insurance policies. So whether you're hurt by a landscaping truck like this, a work van like this, or a big rig like this, we know commercial vehicle accidents, and we know how to get you the big money you may deserve. If any commercial vehicle hurts you, call the Twos. We win for you.
Hurt by a commercial vehicle? Call the Twos. We win for you. Call 222-2222.
Being able to take care of myself in the wilderness, you really get the full experience of what your future might look like.
Hey, good morning, America.
Good morning, America. Good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Every day of your life.
Welcome back in, folks. We'll start on the basketball court where the Maine women got back their winning ways this weekend, picking up 2 big wins at the Pit. The Black Bears took down the NJIT Highlanders on Thursday by a score of 71-58, then handled UMBC on Saturday by a score of 61-47, coming off a trip to New York a week before that saw Maine lost both to Binghamton and Albany. So these 2 wins were big for confidence and to put the Black Bears back on track.
Yeah, I think it just shows how much heart we have as a team and what we've found within ourselves. I think if we continue to bring that, we'll have a great rest this year.
I mean, this week was really big for us. We needed to win both games, and I thought we played well on the road. Just didn't finish plays, didn't do enough to get the W. So we got to learn from that. But I was proud of how they responded.
Now, the losses of Simon and Smith have been discussed enough. The roster is what it is, and they've shown the Black Bear fans that they can still be counted on to compete in the America East this season with their ability to score from every position. And Coach Vachon says this team just needs to keep getting better.
Yeah, it's a journey, and it's been a hard-fought journey, and it continues to be. It's something we work on every day, to really hold each other accountable and support each other at the same time, which is not always easy to do, and so I think we've been really working on that, and we're getting better. Playing with a lot of heart is something we've talked a lot about, and I think we're getting better, a little bit better every day.
Also, congratulations to Maine's Caroline Borman, who was just named the America East Player of the Week. She had a career-high 34 points against NJIT on Thursday. We'll stay on the hardwood now, where a former Hamden Academy standout has found his home in southern Maine. Bryce Lozier, who brought Hamden Academy to a Class A state championship back in 2020, is now leading the way at USM. Lozier, who played collegiately at the University of Maine and St. Anselm College, has found a home in Gorham. The 6'5" guard is averaging 23 points and 12 rebounds a game, accounting for 11 double-doubles this season after spending some time deeper in the rotation at Maine. He said coming to USM definitely put a spark back in his game.
I know coming into this final year that this is, pretty much my last chance to play and show people what I could do. And I mean, I've spent a lot of time in the gym putting up shots, getting ready for this final season. So just being able to go out on the court every night and show that I'm capable and having the trust from my teammates and my coaches to be able to be successful has been great. So.
Good play, good player, even better person. Sticking with basketball and bringing it back down to the high school level now, where a major milestone was reached on Saturday. Greenville's Liam Mason scored his 1,000th point against Bangor Christian School on Saturday. Mason was fouled in the third quarter, where he flushed a free throw to reach the 1K mark. They then stopped the game to present Mason the game ball and allowed his family to come down, take a picture. The Greenville standout also surpassed 100 goals in soccer in the fall and says 1,000 points in the winter isn't too bad for a soccer player.
I mean, it's a lot. I focus on soccer, so I mean, I wasn't expecting coming into this season going to be able to hit 1,000, but shots kept falling, teammates kept getting me the ball, and I was able to put the ball in the net, thank God. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. It doesn't feel real.
We'll head to the ice now, where the Penobscot Pioneers hosted the Gorham Rams Co-op over at Penobscot Ice Arena. Gorham making the trip up the Pioneers with some of the youth Maine Inferno players during introductions. I think that was the key to the Pios' fast start, as Delaney Carr fires a rebound past the goaltender to give Penobscot an early 1-0 lead. Later on, it's Ella Davis, who's just weaving through some defenders, gets the shot on net, but is denied not once but twice by Claire Fahrenkampf to keep it a one-score game. Shortly after, it's the Pios on the attack again, but Fahrenkampf stands tall and makes the saves, and the rebound goes wide. Second period now, it's Carr on the breakaway. She lifts this one over the goalie's pad with the backhand to score her second of the game, as the Pioneers win by a score of 3-1. We'll stay on the ice now and check in with the Boston Bruins. The Bees hosting the Sharks for a holiday matinee. We picked this one up in the first period, where Vinny Lettieri opens the scoring with a goal. What a shot from the point. The Bruins were on fire today, snapping the puck around. Still in the first now. Sharks on the attack. Nico Strum chases a puck down, finds Barclay Gaudreau, who fires it to tie it up at 1. What a great effort there by number 7. We skip ahead to the third. Bruins down 1, and look at the play here. Marchand to Portois to Coyle, who fires it past the goaltender to even things up at 3. Later in the third, it's Coyle again. He throws it behind the keeper's pads. It somehow finds the back of the net, and the Boston Bruins go on to win this one by a score of 6-3. That is all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
At US Cellular, you don't have to choose between a great phone and the right phone plan for you. You can get 4 free phones of your choice and 4 lines for just $90.
That's like us not having to choose between tickets to wrestling or that puppet musical.
Because you get both.
US Cellular, built for us.
You come alive in the dead of winter and start work early on snow days. Because snowed in is not an option. The Kubota Snow lineup of compact tractors, RTVs, and versatile attachments are built to move, plow, blow, and thrive in the winter. So when the snow falls, you could rise to meet it. Right now, bring home select Kubota equipment for 0 down, 0% APR for up to 84 months, plus save up to $300.
Available at Doors Equipment, 1468 Outer Hammond Street, Bangor.
We're Mainers, tough but compassionate. Starting in January 2025, workers and businesses in Maine will begin contributing to the Paid Family and Medical Leave Program. These small contributions will build a fund to support Mainers when we need it most, whether it's welcoming a child, managing a serious health issue for ourselves or a loved one, securing safety after abuse or violence, or helping during a family member's military deployment. Maine Paid Family and Medical Leave. It's how we care. It's who we are. Learn more at maine.gov/paid leave.
Want to test drive US Cellular's nationwide 5G coverage for free?
Here we go.
Hey, I wonder if US Cellular lets me stream in my... Yep, it's working.
Download the US Cellular Tri-Us app today.
Meteorologist Evan Biggs with one final look at our full weather forecast.
Hey, Craig and Emma, thank you very much. We have cold weather advisories up for the northern parts of the state, and now will last until about 10 a.m. this morning. Cold temperatures and wind chills taking place in that part of the state. We also have small crowd advisories up until 10 o'clock tonight, and freezing spray advisories posted along the coast as well. Meanwhile, wave heights at around 3 to 5 feet according to the buoys right nearby, a little bit higher further off towards the north and east, and even 10 to 13 foot wave heights being noted farther out towards sea at this moment in time. Starting off rather clear this morning under a mostly clear sky, which has allowed temperatures to really fall. We'll have some clouds developing later on today and maybe a stray flurry or two. But meanwhile, in the southern parts of the U.S., something I never thought I'd see, some snow across the southern parts of the United States, where areas like New Orleans could see possibly 3 to 6 inches of snow before the system moves out of the area. Areas along the south that don't normally see snow, seeing a good amount. But the rest of the country right now, this is the only game going on. The rest of the Northeast just seeing some lake effect snow at this moment in time. So futurecast for us, some clouds across the northern parts of the state, and now we'll move in for us later on today, partly cloudy, a stray flurry or two possible. Later on tonight, mostly clear to partly cloudy. Then once we head towards tomorrow, a good amount of sunshine to start. Some more clouds developing during the afternoon period. Those will be out of here as we head towards Wednesday evening. We will have gusty winds to watch out for, and that could reach up to about 25 miles per hour at times, calming down later on tonight, and then we might get a quick gust tomorrow that could reach up to about 15 miles per hour at times in a few areas. Of course, wind chill values will still be rather low. Notice the northern parts of the state, they've been rather low. Later on tonight, another cold one on the way, especially in the northern parts of the state and for the rest of us as well. But once we head towards tomorrow night, or should I say as we head towards Wednesday night, things will improve just a little bit, but still cold in the northern parts of the state and for the rest of us as well. Meanwhile, our average high temperature is 27 degrees. We'll do upper teens today, middle teens as we head towards your Wednesday. We make it back into the 20s Thursday, Friday, and a Saturday. Lower 30s for your Sunday, and then we're back in the mid-20s as we head towards your Monday. So for today, 17 degrees, partly cloudy, a few stray flurries can't be ruled out, and that west wind at around 20 miles per hour. Tonight, 8 below, mostly clear and cold out there with the wind overall looking nice and calm. For tomorrow, 15 degrees, partly cloudy, wind chills near 10 below at times, and the northwest wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Let's check out your extended forecast. A slight chance for snow on Thursday, otherwise mostly cloudy with highs in the mid-20s. Mid-20s again for your Friday under a partly cloudy sky. Partly cloudy Saturday with highs in the mid-20s.
It's the Furniture Gallery's anniversary sale. Celebrate with us and save big. Queen mattresses as low as $198. Want to recline? Recliners start at just $298. Or upgrade to a power recliner for just $398. Reclining sofa and recliner, just $9.98. The Furniture Gallery anniversary prices don't stop there. Refresh your living room. Sofas starting at just $4.48. Complete your bedroom, 5-piece set for only $8.98. Support our main family-owned business and save money. The Furniture Gallery.
You know what today is? It's Tuesday. But no matter what day of the week, Lowry & Associates is your go-to law firm. If you've been hurt, call us right now.
If you're hurt in an accident, what do? Call 222-2222.
Your favorite restaurants were half off. It's half off dining from Fox 22 and ABC 7. Go to foxbangor.com, click on half off dining, and start saving now.
Opa, a Greek Mediterranean dining experience like no other, serving the finest of Greek dishes in central Maine. Let Executive Chef Gage Derbyshire prepare your food while you enjoy a drink. Opa! It's all Greek to me.
Great restaurants from all over Eastern Maine at half off dining from Fox 22 and ABC 7. Your favorite restaurants were half off. It's half off dining from Fox 22 and ABC 7. Go to foxbangor.com, click on half off dining, and start saving now.
Goose River Farm and Meat Store is conveniently located on Route 3 across from Hammond Lumber in Belfast. They have a wide selection of meat and poultry, including beef, pork, lamb, chicken, duck, rabbit, and turkey. Open Tuesday through Saturday this summer.
Great restaurants from all over Eastern Maine at half off dining from Fox 22 and ABC 7.
What murderer leaves someone stuck in a slide?
Do you know of anyone who would have wanted to hurt her?
There was that creepy guy.
We have a stalker on our hands.
You stay here.
Well, I can tell by your confident footsteps that the coast was clear.
SpaceX deploys a new shipment of Starlink satellites. A Falcon 9 rocket blasted off from Kennedy Space Center in Florida Tuesday morning with 21 Starlink satellites to boost the company's mega constellation network for internet. The rocket's booster targeted a SpaceX drone ship for landfall after its 8th launch to space. And this could really benefit a lot of folks, even here in Maine.
Yeah, especially in rural areas where you can't get internet service.
For sure,
easily.
Which is a huge problem here in the state.
All right, well, I think we have one more.
Yep.
With frigid temperatures outside, some may want to curl up with a cozy craft. Maine Yarn and Fiber Supply is the only locally owned yarn shop in Bangor, and owner Jody Clayton says business picks up in the winter as people reach for comforting crafts. She says people are working to create their own hats, scarves, mittens, and other winter gear with the shop's natural fibers. It's a hobby that she says could be healing as the cold weather sets in.
There's a lot of research on what handwork, knitting and crocheting specifically, do in terms of supporting healthy brain activity and management of cortisol and stress and anxiety. It's really good medicine.
Maine Yarn and Fiber Supply also hosts a variety of classes. You can visit our website at foxbangor.com for more information. I am with her. I need some kind of craft or something to work on during the winter.
I know.
Keeps me busy, and you know, it gives you some a sense of accomplishment too.
Also, it's communal. I have been to a sewing circle before. There are a couple sewing circles in Bangor. Sounds like they have classes, so that could be pretty similar.
Yeah.
But you just get to hang out with like-minded people, and it's really easy to just gab while you're sewing.
Right. I've always tell people, find a hobby.
Yeah.
You know, find a hobby.
Yeah, and share it with others.
Yeah.
All right, that's enough from us for this hour. If you missed anything, you can head to foxbangor.com, but we will start a renewed hour of Good Morning Maine next on Fox 22.
Thank you for joining us, everyone. We hope you have a wonderful day.
Friday nights are for basketball fans. Friday Night Fast Break is your source for everything that is Maine high school basketball. Highlights and local analysis. It's the only show that hits every corner of Maine's hardwood hoop landscape, high school, college, and professional. Join us Friday night during basketball season for Friday Night Fast Break on ABC 7 News at 11. Brought to you by Coastal Auto Parts, your local Napa Auto Parts dealer with 30 locations, owned and operated by a Maine family that cares.
Everyone has a reason to quit smoking or vaping. Maybe it's for your kids, your health, or just to prove to yourself you can. No matter your reason, quitting can be tough, but Mainers are tougher. Maine QuitLink offers free help to quit smoking and vaping. Get a personalized quit plan and free medications to control nicotine cravings. No insurance needed, no cost to Mainers. Because quitting tobacco with a little extra help is more successful than quitting cold turkey. Quit like a Mainer. Enroll online at MaineQuitLink.com or call 1-800-QUIT-NOW.
Get ideas and inspiration before your next building project even begins at Hammond Lumber Company. Create your vision when you explore Hammond's extensive in-store showroom displays, showcasing innovative trends from industry-leading suppliers and designers. Your Hammond sales rep will help you find the look you like, and Hammond's design team will help you make it your own. And Hammond delivers from 22 locations across Maine and New Hampshire. For your next building project, find your vision at Hammond Lumber Company.
Does your vehicle need a little more work? Have an odd sound coming from somewhere? Bring it over to Jackson's Automotive in Old Town. We have the best technicians and offer a fair price. We also accept all aftermarket protection plans. Now, if you're unable to drive your vehicle to us, we can help you get it here. Also, if you'd like to protect your vehicle for years to come, we offer Wool Wax undercarriage protection. We're located at 546 Main Street in Old Town. Give us a call at 827-2676.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Good morning, America. President Trump's first day, a deep freeze and major winter storm, and Ohio State takes the title.
More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello, everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, a look back at the inauguration of President Trump and some of the actions he took on his first day.
Plus, warming shelters are being set up to help residents cope with the dangerously cold weather.
And a special march was held in Waterville to celebrate the life of Martin Luther King.
Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Emma Smith.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us. We'll have all the day's news coming up, but first to check of that forecast. It's a very cold one too. Dangerously cold weather has descended across the state of Maine, really impacting a lot of the country this morning.
Yeah.
It's the kind of weather you really want to pay attention to, otherwise you might end up in some trouble out there.
I know. For the first time in a very long time, they're actually expecting snow in Louisiana.
Yeah.
So we're not alone right now. Here's Devin Biggs with that forecast.